InShalla and Ashe, blessings to you. Wow, I can see myself live on YouTube. Welcome to the Daily Snippet. It is I, Tonya D, holistic Sha'medium and subtle energy surgeon. Today, I actually washed my hair, so I'm hatless. Anybody else feeling the otherworldly vibration? Myself, this sun is sitting on my natal Neptune as the magical otherworldly degree of Uranus, the god of the unexpected, super juicy energy as we climb to the crest of not only a full moon, but a lunar full moon partial eclipse. It's going to last like over 3 hours. So the message, I have it popped up on my computer. Stay mindful of your inner material value as you develop boundaries, and alchemy herself changes your life. So I am going to be in the juice for it. Otherworldly, definitely. But welcome to Sunday, November 14th, 2021, the Daily Snippet. And be sure to watch out for Voices of the Other World. The confirmation came in loud and clear last night, along with some other worldly insights. So we are pretty powerful people in these threads connecting to the realm of spirit. So I'm feeling more motivated, uplifted, feelings of just overall juiciness and beingness, ready for what I would call awkward learning and memory enhancement from the galactic universe. Other than the trauma memories from other lifetimes or incarnations, but they don't get to thread or throw anymore because we're moving them. So look at how colorful the chart is today. We have all the elements, every single one of them. Yes, and hallelujah there. So it really is this juicy day. The metal in the year supports the energy of water. Water then supports and nurtures the tiger in the day. And the tiger takes care of our amazing day herself, that yang fire, which then feeds the energy of earth. So we have like pure juice. That's absolutely what we have here. It's a yang fire tiger day, or a being yin. So it's time to break out the passion, create something, whether it's cooking an amazing meal, cleaning out the cobwebs, the mental mind kind, or playing with clay, painting, writing, making your own spiritual witch, herbs, magic, incense, candles, even sacred geometry. But more importantly, just have some serious fun. So I really love the magic of a day like today. It's a day to completely and magically transform the juice. It's a day of alchemy, really, alchemizing. So the alchemy really comes in very unexpected ways. You probably can't put your finger on it. Things that we often don't see at the wheel. You know, the key is literally the key in the ignition to really start the transformation. It's the law of attraction getting ignited through the twist of the key. So the juiciness, it's the next level juiciness. It comes from the season of Scorpio and the final stages of that season that really resonates with the unique and the otherworldly energy, the unique energy of Uranus, Aquarius, the house of Aquarius, which is the 11th house. So really just bumping up our sacred geometry a notch, creating a new shape that adds up cycled boundary, a new shape or a new form, like energy to matter, matter out to energy. It's time to really boundary up like light warriors or love walkers or love warriors, or, things are really getting juicy. So this magical alchemy of transformation, it's really so exciting. Ultimately, it's really like ping-ponging, the ping-ponging of feelings bouncing off of ourselves and the other or the outer or just ourselves. So it's like having two conversations that are going off in our head when we talk to ourselves, where we have the inside voice and the outside voice, those two inside voices even. So it's the feelings that are like, no, I want to feel this. No, I want to feel that. And they're kind of ping-ponging around. Where you don't know if you feel like chocolate or ice cream or neither. Or are you going to mix them all together, creating chocolate ice cream, or have an entirely different outcome? So if you kept them separate, they're really not going to be as juicy, right? Because they're separate. So really add the yummy and the yummier, and also if you keep them separate, the fillings or the ice cream and the chocolate, That's more of the visual to kind of get the idea of feelings. You kind of have to force yourself to kind of pick and choose, if you will, or eat one at a time as well, I guess. Only one, only one is kind of weighty at the moment, and the other one's really not on the menu. It's like picking one dessert in a restaurant, um, and you want the chocolate, but you also want the ice cream, but you choose one off the menu, the memo, the memo menu, and the other is actually no longer, it's not feeling juicy. But that in itself is also some sort of emotional shift in the end. Um, there's like not so much a loss, but it's kind of like the letting go and the shift in the end result. So it's like you feel strongly about both the ice cream and the chocolate, but if you combine them, then you kind of end up with something else that's actually just as tasty. Or it's like you can feel the juice in your mouth, right? So the alchemy of our attention from one item to the other, we can actually see it transform. Energy to matter becomes something taking form. Or you might decide to only choose the chocolate and forget the ice cream, which is honestly what I would be doing. But the outcome is based on what I am feeling inside. Like now, I kind of want a piece of chocolate, and you might want one too. Dark chocolate myself, dark raspberry, but really dark chocolate. So it's this kind of exploration process of feeling what does and doesn't ultimately belong in your life, all of those emotional options. So it's like energy and motion equals the outcome, which really is the law of attraction. So it's like to keep the closet, I have, or am I ready to transform that old wardrobe into a new one? Which really, I'm ready for a new one. I'm sure you are too. So be sure to watch soon as I create Tonya's Cobwebs in the Closet, which I post shoes that are really juicy, but I haven't actually worn them for over a decade. And they are really actually pretty fabulous if you do know me, but I think they'd be really juicy for somebody else that's going to like adore and wear them because I haven't been, but they're super eclectic, if I must say. So it's kind of determining what stays in my closet and what goes. Um, just releasing it out there. I'm just giving you ideas, but I kind of like that idea of Tanya's Cobwebs in the Closet. I'm not going to lie. So I must just do that as kind of an offering, and it's a great way to upcycle the wardrobe as well. So upcycling the quality of life that we're actually meant to live, adding feelings to the words to process through or drive the car. After all, the key is actually in the ignition, if you can see that visually, the key in the ignition, to kind of maneuver through the closet or the forces or the forest, the challenges of adversity, the forces of adversity. That's kind of what I was going with. Seeing the trees in the forest. I think it's a force. It keeps coming out my mouth. But how we feel about the matter, where energy creates feelings in motion. So it's like, how do you feel? What is the feeling that's actually on the crest of that emotional wave? Because we're heading into this luxurious next level full moon. Super excited about that. But what does your future belong looking like? Like, can you see it otherworldly? Is it juicy? Voices of the other world is playing in my imaginal realm because I'm creating it right now. And that's kind of the energy of today. So if you don't belong in a conflict situation, simply walk away and really remove yourself from the frequency of that outcome. Sometimes the best or the only way to win is really not to play, like leaving the pieces on the chessboard, like not making a move, right? So even events in our world, situations that come up, when we add emotion to the mix, it feeds the discomfort, right? So sound it out, if you will, sound therapy. That also sends out frequencies and waves. And we have our crown online with our sacral and also the portal. So that's this spectacular combination. We've got violets, if you're a visual person, color, violets, dark galactic hues of the universe, ultraviolet shades, silvers, blacks. Just to make it more mesmerizing, you can bring in the calibration of the oranges of the sacral. You could actually breathe in from your sacral and release through the crown into the portal just taking those emotions through the crown, and when releasing them into the portal, they actually alchemize in an otherworldly fashion. That feels juicy just actually saying that out loud. But the stone of the day, which is actually just as juicy, I'm getting better at the stones, they just kind of float in. But I brought in the Labradite. So the Labradite's a stone of mysticism. It's linked to the glimmering gold and green lights of the Aurora Borealis. It's a stone, it's just mystical as it is iridescent, changing colors in its own. It's born actually from the storms of the Northern Lights. It's found in Canada's Labrador region. Sounds like the dog, the Labrador. But the healing properties of this crystal are all about tapping into our own wonderful well of creativity, which is the imaginal realm for me, and also connecting with the higher consciousness, those waves. So there's like this bounty of blues and greens and fiery golds and just smoky schemes that can be found shimmering on the surface of this stone. So it's kind of this reminder that the greatest healing stones are often connected with all of the elements, the ground beneath our feet, the surging ocean, and really just stretched out to the sky and actually the stars, the galactic corridor above. So it's got this long, sprawling history thanks to its rich shamanic vibes, which we all know that's the playground I play in. Within the stories of the shamanic, the indigenous, they're linked with the tells from people who intuit, the people that are medicine people, really. But the legend really says that once upon a time, this intuit warrior saw that the aurora had become trapped in a piece of stone. So he took his spear and struck the rock to help set the light free. There's some missionaries called the Moravian. They've traveled to this remote area of Canada in the wilderness back in the 18th century, and they became so enchanted with the mystical stones that they literally carried them back to Europe. There's also a little further discovery that shows that it's not only Canada that cleaves the Labrador from the earth, but also the winter winds of Finland and the former Tsar kingdoms of Russia. So in Finland, they named the stone the Spectrolite, as it seemed to capture every shade in the entire whole spectrum of existence. So whatever the name, this stone has long been synonymous with the ideas of art and magic. So it's really for those who want to embrace the galactic mysteries of the universe, all while making sense of their own space in one. So the healing, just like the northern lights that illuminate the winter skies of the hard north, Labradite doesn't really shy away from the beauty, the grace, the mysticism, and the magic and the great healing powers. While at the same time, sometimes the world can kind of strip us of our much needed energy and also our precious resources. That happens a lot as people are creating more of a concrete jungle around us. But Labradite teaches us how to bring life-giving energy to all areas of our souls, from the body to the mind and those deep, hard-to-reach corners, which keep us all in balance. So it's a stone that really shows us the way to self-soothing artistic ambition, cosmic energy, and also enhancing our own mental clarity. So really kind of, the stone should be played with. It's a stone of transformation. So it might be considered a stone filled to the brim with magical and mystical energy, but it's also a great stone for grounding in when it comes to our physical healing. So one of the places where Labrador, really shines is as a healing crystal when it comes to our respiratory system, from blood circulation to breathing and the power behind our lungs. So this stone is all about encouraging complete health and well-being, inviting us to really take a deep breath comfortably as we say yes and yes to the universe. So anyone suffering from like bronchitis or different respiratory issues might find the healing hands of the stone helpful in our journey to wellness. So, Labradite even pays special attention to the lungs, but it really doesn't stop there. It also assists with healthy digestion, regulation. It keeps our metabolism actually working well and higher vibe. If you suffer from symptoms of PMS or painful periods, this stone, gentle as it is, can also aid in keeping pain and tension on the down low, but it also helps to heal rheumatism and gets rid of problems caused by gout. So, really, any kind of tension or anxiety can be swept away by the lush properties of the stone. So, it's a stone that's actually known to stimulate mental clarity, helping us to chase away the fog, the mental clog, the cosmic clutter, and really stay level and concise in our own mind. Exactly the formula that we need, to make amazing otherworldly decisions. So the stone of transformation and also the stone of courage. So if those two things call to you, then Labradite might be the healing stone that you've actually been waiting for. Far from just a pretty face with this light shot color schemes, it seems to actually whisper powerful healing. Mentally, it's the stone you want on your side. First and foremost, it calms the monkey mind and stops our thoughts from swinging from branch to branch like a monkey. And it's not to say that Labradite squashes our mind. It does actually the opposite. So if you feel stuck in a rut or crave a kickstart within your imagination, this iridescent cosmic swirls of Labradite are sure to really get our artistic energy just like bubbling up and surging through, So how does it do that? So 1,000,001 ways. But this stone's strongest skills are helping to restore energy after a drain. So it can be easy to feel kind of bogged down by the routines of our everyday, worldly, earthly, man-made life, other people's dramas, and uncertainty about ourselves or even the future. So Labradite really just like clears out all the junk in the trunk and revitalizes the spirit with this bright burst of energy. And it just keeps us ticking rather than being weighed down by events of the world and even our personal responsibilities. So if you ever feel like you need a hint of motivation to really rise to the challenge, this is actually, it's like the ever ready battery, but it's a stone that we could utilize as a personal mascot. If you struggle with depression, you can find that the stone doesn't really shy away from mopping up bad moons. It's just great at stabilizing thanks to its commitment to keep us connected with the world beneath our feet, the 10th energetic center, no matter how high it invites your imagination to reach. You can take its cue from the milky moonlight and the swirl of the stars that are kind of embedded in it. So it's all about like providing patterns and paths of illumination, so it lights us up. So if you have like deeply stashed memories that need to be brought to the light to help you distinguish lessons needed, the stone isn't going to shy away from letting you know what that looks like. And it doesn't mean that it's going to overwhelm you by trying to dig up all that you should stay buried, within, but it has this intuitive strength and power. It can be relied on to really bring out the best in us when we're fully and wholeheartedly ready and actually raring to move forward. It's connected to our throat center, the tool for communication, and also our third eye, that which kind of connects us to the spiritual realms or begins that journey. So Labradite toes that line between what we need here on Earth and also what can assist us to kind of leap higher. But the throat center helps us to speak our truth and also stay rooted in our authenticity. It reminds us of the power of really utilizing our voice, of communicating throat center, our needs with clarity and really empowering ourselves out into the world. And when we have a block in our throat center, we might struggle to feel heard or understood. Even our relationship with others can really become strained, and we really lack the confidence to say that which needs to be heard for our own good. Where the third eye center, that aligns us to our higher purpose and really assists us to really see deeper, both externally and internally, the inner and the outer. So when we tap into this center, our third eye, we're able to move through the world more consciously and to let go of those old ideas that really don't support us anymore in favor of taking new and exciting paths that are more aligned with our true infinite purpose. So that's why Labradite is also always associated with shamanism, mysticism, and magic. It's been a tool that a lot of healers have actually turned to. Many are drawn to this heavenly aura, that auric field, the otherworldly, and also the ability to tap into those different states of consciousness. Psychic powers have also been attributed to the Labradite gemstone. So I would totally recommend getting this, especially if you want to work otherworldly. Good morning, Tazzy. I actually pulled a card for you yesterday. So if you watched yesterday's show, at the end, I pulled a card just for you because you always show up. So blessings to you. So with that, here we go. Bingo. The cards of the day. Oh boy. I pulled 8 of Swords the other day from the Light Seers Tarot. But that's the first card of the day. So this is kind of a gentle reminder that we create our own reality and to kind of look behind the veil of illusion that our current limitations might be projecting. So if you're feeling trapped, like you have no path forward, just remember that's only a perspective and that actually can be lifted off of us. And when we choose sovereignty, spirit is what I would say, over victimhood, we then become the fierce protector, Wedame, of our choice. And we can free ourselves from feeling shackled or held back. I kind of am seeing like the chain, the ball and chain kind of thing. But when we do this, we shift our outcome dramatically when we realize that we are really the one, ourself, who's responsible for our own inner happiness. So we can create this infinite portals of possibilities by becoming the solution, because we're never really stuck. Nurture your soul, spend the time that you need to kind of transmute any feelings of feeling helpless. We really can't control every experience that's on our path and on our journey. However, we can work on how we respond to them. So it's kind of an opportunity to really let go of an old story, which is what the moon is really all about. And it's time to open our eyes to unveil the truth. We have more options than oftentimes we think, honestly, right? But we have to unveil, look behind that curtain. And then I pulled the 7 of Swords, which is curious. I think those are ravens, I believe. They feel ravenish to me. But traditionally, this card is like the warning card. It warns us that we need to look out for deception, thievery, betrayal. I sense betrayal more. We're in the season of Scorpio, but sometimes we can find ourselves to be the victim of somebody else's deceit, but it's also this nudge to act in alignment with our own highest morality. So be sure that you are being honest with yourself about the nature of your reality in the moment, like right now. And sometimes, often we pretend that everything's okay or that we are doing the best we can. My motto is, you're doing great, even when we're not. So I just say that every day, all day long, throughout the day, texting, messaging, all the things. But sometimes this shows us, or it shows up as this recklessness or maybe even an avoidance of responsibilities. So take only what's needed and just remember that no excuse is going to outweigh our ability to act from a place of love and also integrity. So you can't deceive your own heart, right? And the universe, God universe, is always going to be bearing witness to our truest intentions, those heartfelt ones. So for you alone, and you might feel alone and vulnerable under the light of the moon, the only thing that really matters is the truth. So really move forward with the lightness of consciousness and allow that to be your beacon, to be your guide, and really act from a place of love and morality. and allow the universe to witness your honest intentions with integrity. That's kind of the message here as we glide in. And you're very welcome for that card. Be sure to watch it because you're always here, and I felt the call to share. Then I pulled the Hermit, which look at him. He looks like he's floating in space and time. He's like on his own star out there. Or I'm thinking of that book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Maybe he's floating on a towel. I actually love this card. It's in a reflection and contemplation and soul searching and inner wisdom, a spiritual mentor, if you will. Just finding our own guide, our own inner guide within ourselves in our beingness, and really just taking time away from the chaos, right? There's chaos everywhere, and literally just hermiting, if you will. So it's this time to really make space for our sacred aloneness. I would probably say sit at your sacred altar, do some own personal self-care. So if you're feeling kind of disconnected from our own spiritual north, for me, the north is over there, kind of beacon into that. So this is a time of like solitary withdrawal. It's going to help us to connect with our own compass, our soul purpose, our spiritual awakening, which is happening, and our deep inner wisdom kind of springs from this energy. Sometimes, sometimes we run the risk of being so introspective that we kind of lose our connection to others, or worse, we can really like dive deep, so deep into our own stories of struggle that we inadvertently, we begin to believe that our wounds will be part of our forever identity, our forever story. So in the deeper trenches of our own personal self-discovery, this is where we need to remember that our continual search for our own healing in our inner truth, that doesn't mean that we're not already whole and we're not already healed. That's kind of perspective. I think people project sometimes their shift on us. But when we do this, energetically, we can emerge from our inner retreat with beautiful insights that we actually download from spirit, whether it's an animal, an angel, God universe, herself, the goddess inside, and just allow ourselves to kind of navigate the path with this brighter illuminated heart. I think that's what he's doing up there. He's in his own heart space. He's glowing as a hermit, even though he's got like the light, the little lantern down there below the hermit. Magical though. So it's like our inner sage, our inner mentor, our inner guide, our inner beacon, our inner light. I'm seeing in my cowrie shells, there's a stone that is the beacon, the light that we all have. This is showing us our brightest light so that we can hopefully see with all of our heart, our inner heart, and our otherworldly heart is kind of what I see, to open our eyes to like unveil the truth, the magic and the mystical. So really the time is now. It's an opportunity to really let go of the old story. And then we have the universe kind of bearing witness to our true heart's intentions, where we can really meditate and do some inner reflection, contemplate. This is where we get insight and inner wisdom from the guide within us. So it's kind of to open the doorway out into the future, the juiciness of the future. So an affirmation I would say is like, I affirm I am unveiling my soul's purpose to live my life's purpose with integrity. So we really must be the change we wish to see in the world, change within ourselves so our outer world changes as well. And with the moon herself, the goddess, of course, I think everything's a goddess, but the moon is actually in the beginning stages of Aries. So it's not a time to act before you feel into things. Those create drama bubbles, or even acting on our feelings. I have some friends that have Aries moons, and it's curious to watch them. They act emotionally before they kind of think through things. It's hilarious. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that Aries moon is online. You might feel that with some Aries people today too, emotional threadings. But with all of that, InShalla, Ashe, love you too. Thank you. Be sure to watch the show, Tazzy. It's all about you at the end. So blessings and make it a magical day. The corridor is open.